New comic book day is almost here. In fact, it's tomorrow. So let's take a look at all the books on the pull list. Welcome back to Comics Are Dope. I'm BJ Kicks, and this is the pull list. This is my weekly video where I take a look at all the books coming out. I'll tell you which ones are on my pull list, what's on the chopping block, and we'll even talk about some new series debuts that are on my radar. For this week of New Comics, Wednesday, November 27th, 2024. That's right, tomorrow. Now, I'm excited. Before we get into the comics I'm excited about, got to tell you about some really fun stuff happening at my LCS, Fight or Flight Comics in Raleigh, North Carolina. So I brought a prop. This is a short box. Fun fact, a short box holds about 150 comics. And another fun fact, a short box is about, well, it's not exactly half of a long box. And so that means a long box holds about 300 comics, if you're following me. Now, there are over 50 long boxes at Fight or Flight Comics right now, stuffed with dollar books, because Black Friday started a week ago. We're already in the thick of it. So you can go to Fight or Flight Comics right now and shop in these over 50 long boxes full of dollar comics. And as if that wasn't a good enough deal, you can fill up one of these short boxes, for $100. And that's pretty cool. That would be a great deal. 150 comics for $100 sounds awesome to me. But my man Dan is kind of crazy, so he's giving even more discounts if you decide to buy more. So if you could fill up 2 short boxes full of dollar comics, they're going to cost you $75 each. And as if Dan wasn't crazy enough, if you fill up 3 short boxes full of dollar comics, well, then you could get them each for $50 a piece. So that means 3 short boxes, 150 comics each. That's 450 comics for $150. And as if Dan wasn't crazy enough, if you buy 4 short boxes, I'm joking. There's no price break for 4. Save some comics for the rest of us, you animal. Anyway, head to Fight or Flight Comics right now at Triangle Town Center Mall on the first floor, right past the food court. Great deals. Great deals are happening. I should probably head over there before you go buy all the comics. So now that I've done my Black Friday promo, let's get into the comics I am most excited about this week. And I'm going to start off with the book that is going to be at the top of my reading pile. Oh, real quick, a couple weeks ago, somebody commented on this pull list video and was like, hey man, like, you're not even reading these comics. Like, is it even worth it for me to watch this? And it became personal with me. So, I'm joking. But thanks to that feedback, I decided, you know what? I am going to lock in, and I've read every comic on this list. So I'm giving you my freshest recommendations, starting with Justice League Unlimited, issue number 1. This, written by Mark Waid, with art by Dan Mora, colors by Tamara Bonvillain, is a brand new series debut for DC Comics. And I gotta tell you, I love the concept. So Justice League Unlimited is special to me. Because it's one of the first superhero TV shows I remember watching as a kid. Although I remember not being as into it from the very beginning as I was like Batman the Animated Series, for example. But in my adulthood, rediscovering the DC universe through Justice League and Justice League Unlimited and Young Justice, like the DCAU is my jam. And so to take a concept that first worked in animation, which is basically all the superpowered heroes are in the Justice League. And in any given issue, you can see Batman or Superman or the Question or Huntress or, I don't know. I was going to say Icon. We're probably not going to see Icon in this series, but we'll definitely see Black Lightning. So I'm very, very excited about the future of the Justice League, a future at DC where all the heroes get some shine. Because for the longest time, if you weren't Batman, nobody knew who you were. So really, really exciting times to be a DC fan. And I'm very excited for this title. That's why it's number 1 on the list. Cover price on this is $3.99. And yes, I'm getting cover A, but there is a 1 in 50 variant by my guy, Edwin Galman. And there's no way There is no way I am not getting that cover. So fight me for it. Next up on the DC Comics pull list is Absolute Wonder Woman issue number 2, written by Kelly Thompson, art by Hayden Sherman. I gotta say, Absolute Wonder Woman is pretty good. I read all of the Absolute Universe titles so far. Superman might be my favorite, although I haven't read Absolute Batman number 2. But Superman might be my favorite, then Batman as a very close second, and then by default, Wonder Woman is my least favorite of the 3. But it does feel like it is like the most different. Now, it's hard for me to say that because I've not read much Wonder Woman in life. But this idea of a Wonder Woman who is like formed in hell, who has no knowledge of, Paradise Island and just all of the things, like she is not coming from the great beginnings that she's come from, in the regular DC universe. And I think it's going to be really interesting to watch her story play out because, again, all these absolute characters, they are still heroes. Even if their circumstances are dire, even if their origins are dark, they still represent that sort of hopefulness in this very grim world. And Wonder Woman flying on a dead Pegasus was really cool. So I'm excited to see more action. That's, I think, what didn't set it apart from the other two was I feel like there wasn't a ton of action in issue 1, but it seems like we're set up to get some of that in issue 2. Cover price on it is $4.99. I'm grabbing cover A. Next up is Action Comics 1077, and I actually didn't get caught up on this one. The cover image says Trapped, and that's exactly how I feel by this weekly schedule of Action Comics. But I'm gonna keep buying it, and eventually I'll do like a big review of the whole arc as a standalone. So that'll be fun. But for now, it's just sitting on the pull list. Mark Waid, Clayton Henry. Cover price on it is $4.99. I'm grabbing cover A. And the next up on the DC Comics pull list is Batman, The Long Halloween, The Last Halloween, issue number 3. I love this cover, by the way, but the Batman Long Halloween, The Last Halloween, basically, it seems like the holiday killer is back at it again. At the same time, Batman is trying to solve a kidnapping of a pretty high profile member, or at least a pretty important person in Gotham. And it's really cool. I really like being sort of transported back into the early days of Batman and Robin. Like in the last issue, we saw Dick Grayson's first trip to Arkham Asylum. And I thought that was just really cool to, I don't know, I feel like so much, we take for granted that we know like pretty much everything about Batman. So it's fun to get like glimpses of the early years and reestablish lore and reestablish mindsets and things like that. So each issue of this book has a different artist. It's written by Jeff Loeb. Last issue, it was Klaus Janson. This issue is Chris Giarello, who has a long history at Batman. He did a bunch of covers and editorial and all sorts of stuff. So I'm excited about just checking this out because it's Mark Chiarello. Now I gotta look it up. I think I'm getting Mark Chiarello and Chris Giarusso confused. Anyway, Mark Chiarello is the artist on that. Now let's move on. Cover price on that one, by the way, is $4.99. I'm grabbing the cover A by Tim Sale. I'm loving the series so far. I do feel like the art is kind of switching up each issue, which of course it's supposed to, but it so far it all feels good to the story. So we'll see. This issue I think is going to profile the Riddler a little bit, not profile, but feature the Riddler. So it'll be cool. Nice little tour through the Rogues Gallery, which Jeff Loeb has done a lot over the years. But hey, not complaining. $4.99 on that. I'm grabbing cover A. Next up is Detective Comics issue 1091. Detective Comics written by Tom Taylor with art by Mikel Hanin. And bro, this book is good. I mean, Mikel Hanin art, it's going to be difficult to get me to not buy a book with Mikel Hanin on art. But this is written by Tom Taylor, and ultimately it feels like Detective Comics should feel. I loved the Rom V run on Detective Comics, but I read it in bunches because from issue to issue, it just didn't always pack the umph and like really hook you. But this, at least from the first issue, it's definitely got its claws in me. We had a little flashback, and we're seeing like, some early Thomas Wayne stuff, and turning Thomas Wayne into Peter Parker is crazy. And that's all I'll say about that. Cover price on issue 1091 is $4.99. I'm grabbing cover A. And the last book on the DC Comics pull list this week is Superman, issue number 20. Thanks to Absolute Power, people have powers that didn't have powers before. Sheesh, I said power 3 times in the same sentence. The point is, Lois Lane is now superpowered. And we don't know how long it's going to last. We don't know really like if it's temporary, if it's forever. But what we do know is that there's a very problematic Superman villain who has made a return. And as a matter of fact, you can see it on the cover. I'm not spoiling anything. Doomsday is back in ways that both you might expect and you definitely don't see coming. So if you didn't read issue 19, go do that. And then check out issue 20 with me. Cover price on it is $4.99. I'm grabbing cover A. And that's it. Those are the DC books on the pull list. If I stick to the list, those will cost me $29 this week. Now, let's talk about stuff going on over at Marvel Comics, where first book on the pull list is Blade Red Band, issue number 2. Blade Red Band, written by Brian Edward Hill, with art by Carlos Villa, CF Villa, I believe is how he's credited. But honestly, I really enjoyed issue 1. Blade Red Band, by the way, is coming in a polybagged edition. You know, it's part of the Red Band line. So as far as I understand, Red Band books do not get a free digital edition in the back. Excuse me. Yeah, Red Band books don't get a digital edition. Red Band books don't get collected after the fact. So if you want a Red Band book, the only way to get it is to buy it in singles from a local comic shop or some online direct market retailer. So you need to do that. And that's the reason I'm picking this up, is because of the FOMO, because this is very much a continuation of everything we've been seeing from Brian Hill and Blade over the last year and some change. Blade, this is picking up directly after the Blood Hunt event. Blade played a big role in that. And as he's kind of going to sulk after playing a big role in Blood Hunt, you know, it seems like he's being lured, to take advantage of his anger once again. And so I didn't see a whole lot of like blood and gore in issue 1. Like I didn't really get why it was a Red Band book. I guess there was like maybe 1 or 2 panels that I'm like, okay, that couldn't go in a regular comic. I could have gone in a regular comic. You've seen The Walking Dead. But with that said, it does feel like we got reason for there to be a lot more carnage in the next few issues. I'm enjoying it though. I gotta say, I'd probably prefer Elena Casagrande to be on art, but hey, I enjoyed it. So cover price on Blade Red Band issue 2 is $4.99. I'm grabbing cover A. Next up, Ultimate Black Panther issue number 10, also written by Brian Edward Hill, also a really good book. I feel like the complaint about this book, as well as Ultimate Spider-Man, is that they're kind of slow rolling it. Like it's a slow build, but I enjoy this book. Like basically Wakanda has been at war for quite some time, and there are people that are fed up. Like Wakanda's at war with like the rest of Africa, and we're learning about like the forces of Ra and Khonshu and how they have influenced and manipulated the people in the bordering nations of Wakanda to be at war. And T'Challa, by the way, has to find like his own like deeper sense of purpose and meaning and rediscover what vibranium means and what it does and how it works and all those things. I guess the big knock against this is that it doesn't necessarily feel different enough from the regular Black Panther. I think that's not really true. I think it's different enough. I think the problem is there is no mainline Black Panther book. And so the things that you like about T'Challa, you're going to like about T'Challa here. But because you don't have a main universe book to compare it to, it's just going to be like, oh, well, why does this need to be Ultimate? Why can't this just be Black Panther? Which I guess in my opinion is a compliment, not a detriment. But point is, Ultimate Black Panther is really good. Issue 10 is out this week. Cover price on it is $4.99. I'm grabbing cover A. And last book on the Marvel Comics pull list this week is probably my favorite of the 3 that I'm naming. This is Uncanny X-Men. Issue number 6 is out this week. It's written by Gail Simone. The art is typically by David Marquez. He's not on art for this issue. We've got a guest artist helping out. And who is that guest artist? Javier Garron. Not necessarily familiar. What kind of work has he done before? He's done a bunch of stuff. He's got a few. He's got a bunch of covers and stuff. He's definitely got a few Uncanny X-Men issues coming up. So anyway, the point is Javier Garron on art. This book is the final issue that's going to be included in the Uncanny X-Men Volume 1 trade paperback. But to me, issue 5 felt like it resolved the first story arc. So I don't know if this is just going to be like a sort of recap Fallout issue or what. I will say, though, if you didn't read the first 5 issues of this run, they're really good. And it's my favorite X title. Like, I feel like I said, this book, all of the X books right now feel like they're sort of taking on this concept of New Mutants. And depending on what team you're on, you're going to handle it differently, depending on who you are as a mutant, as a leader, whether it's Kitty Pryde or Cyclops or Rogue, right? They all take and handle that responsibility a little bit differently. But I feel like this book has kind of the best of everything we like about X-Men right now. Like, if Exceptional is the one that's like supposed to be the sort of New Mutants title, Uncanny's got a little bit of that flavor going on. If X-Men is where you would expect to see high action, Uncanny's got a bit of that going on. And if, what was it? Action, the New Mutants. I forgot. Oh, even the darkness that you're getting in Ultimate X-Men right now, and like the sort of like horror manga vibe, that's kind of in here. Like, there's a lot of, if you're going to read just one X-Men book, this is the one X-Men book to read. The rest of the X-Men books are great for their own reasons. But if you're someone like me who doesn't have a lot of room on the pull list, and you're like, well, which book is the most representative of what's happening right now? It's got to be this one. This is the one to read. Uncanny X-Men, issue number 6. Cover price on it is $4.99. I'm grabbing cover A. And that's it. Those are the 3 Marvel books on the pull list. If I stick to the list, those will cost me $15 this week, as we skip on over to the indies, where the first book on the pull list is Feral, issue number 8. Feral. This is written by Tony Fleece with art by Trish Forstner and Tone Rodriguez. Dog, what can I say about this book? It's really fun. Like, I love that it's ongoing. So we've got these 3 cats. We've got Elsie, we've got Lord, we've got Patch. And I won't tell you, who's who or what's what if you're not reading this book, but if you know, you know. But those 3 cats we are following in the middle of a rabies outbreak that basically is like a zombie outbreak. Humans have been instructed to like not make contact with animals or to kill them on sight, because all animals are dangerous. No animal can be trusted when rabies is going around. And the animals can't really trust each other. And so they've got this sort of found family. They're like just trying to survive without being turned. And in the last issue, we got some help, it seems, from like a human ally. But if I'm honest with you, I'm kind of scarred from stray dogs. Like, I'm like, can we trust any humans that we see in this book? Y'all got to let me know. Issue 8 is out this week. Cover price on it is $3.99. I'm grabbing cover A. By the way, I think the Backer Kit campaign, you can still grab the Stray Dogs plushie somehow. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe that ended yesterday. Anyway, Feral, number 8. Grab that. Next up is a brand new debut from Ghost Machine. This is Hornsby and Halo, issue number 1. Written by Peter J. Tomasi with art by Peter Schneiberg. This book, basically, the forces of heaven and hell have been at war forever. Think Spawn. And instead of them having hell spawns and redeemers and whatnot, they've got these kids that they're going to send to Earth to maybe help end their decades, centuries, millennia long conflict. And so this conflict has been going on forever. They send these kids and they have them raised by human families, and they're just kind of there on a reconnaissance mission. Like, they're going to kind of figure out, how does the world work? How does the way we interact affect how we're each going to rule our respective kingdoms over the years? I purposefully didn't read this ahead of time because I don't want to be spoiled. I want to read this book when it gets in my hands. So I'm going to find out how good it is, just like the rest of you will, when I read it tomorrow. Cover price on it is $3.99. I'm grabbing cover A. I did not know they were going to be doing lawn work at my house this week. We're just going to have to go with it. Next up is, oh, by the way, speaking of Hornsby and Halo, I did an interview with Pete Tomasi and Peter Schneiberg and Francis Manipul. It'll be up on the channel tomorrow. But anyway, next up from Dynamite Entertainment is Lilo and Stitch, issue number 7. Lilo and Stitch, written by Greg Pak, art by Julia Giacomino. And dog, I really like this book. I finally got caught up. So the whole first story arc was about these robots that are after Stitch for his, destructive capabilities and breeding, right? And that got resolved. I won't tell you how it got resolved, but it got resolved and you need to read it. The second story arc is, more so focused on Lilo, where the Galactic Federation wants to use Lilo because they see how good she's done at like taming Stitch. And so they want her to tame other creatures, other threats across the galaxy. So they keep sending all these big monsters to Hawaii. And that's crazy. And I really loved the immediate previous issue number 6. Really, really heartwarming. I loved Stitch being jealous, and that's kind of all I'll say. This is just one of those books that's just good, and I love that I can read it and share it with my kids. I feel like I say that all the time, but that's what I feel about Dynamite and Disney. Speaking of Dynamite and Disney, we got a whole lot of Dynamite and Disney comics coming up. We'll talk about those later. But next up, Lilo and Stitch, number 7, out this week. Cover price is $4.99. I'm grabbing cover A. Speaking of Dynamite Entertainment and Dynamic Forces, I am going live this Friday. We have not done a hangout in a long time. We're doing a very special episode of the hangout this Friday at 9 p.m. So Black Friday, we're going to do a live claim sale with Dynamic Forces, people kind of sister company to Dynamite Entertainment. They're going to have all sorts of comics, slabbed and raw, variants and A covers from all sorts of publishers. The big two, of course, there'll be some Dynamite exclusives. There are some Dynamite Disney rare variants, metal variants, all sorts of stuff that'll be up for grabs this Friday night. I got to pre-screen the inventory just to make sure everything is friendly, safe for work, family friendly. So come, we're going to have a good time. It's going to be fun. And this is probably going to be the last time I go live from this room because we are moving soon. So come check me out. Let's hang out one last time. Cover price on Lilo and Stitch number 7 is $4.99. I'm grabbing cover A if I didn't say that already. Now let's move on to the last indie book on the pull list this week, and that is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles issue number 4. TMNT, written by Jason Aaron. This one's got art by Chris Burnham. I've told you this a million times, but the first 4 issues of Ninja Turtles have a different artist for each issue, and they focus on one turtle each. Last issue was a Leonardo spotlight. We've had Michelangelo right before that. We had Raphael to start everything off. This issue, of course, focuses on the last turtle, and that is Donatello. Now, the turtles have been separated for a period of about 6 months following TMNT issue 150. You don't need to have read the previous 150 issues to get what's happening here. Donatello gets you caught up to exactly what his whole state of affairs is in this issue. I feel like Donnie is in the situation that is like the most perplexing. If you're just a passing fan of the Turtles and you don't know what's going on or you hadn't read the previous stories. So I think you're going to enjoy getting to know where he is right now and how he got there. And I'm very excited to see these Turtles finally together, finally like working together against the Foot Clan. And they just announced Juan Ferreira as the series artist starting with issue 6. I am going to love Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I can already tell. Like it's up there. It is so it's so up there on like the top comics list right now for me. TMNT issue 4 cover price on it is $4.99. I'm grabbing cover A. I don't like my microphone in my shots, but I feel like I gotta get closer because of that lawnmower. So next up, that's it. Those are all the books on the indie pull list. So if I stick to the list, the indie books will cost me $18. And as you can tell, I'm over budget. I'm over budget. Once again, this happens. This has been happening a lot, but we got the great pull list purge of 2024. It's still coming. I promise. But my grand total this week is going to be $62 if I don't drop anything. And if I'm honest with you, there is nothing here that I want to drop now that I'm caught up on everything. The only one that I'm like, I could go without that, you guessed it, Action Comics, issue 1077. But I'm not going to do that to myself. This is why we build in a buffer in the budget. Somebody asked me, like, why don't you just increase the price or the budget on your pull list? And I'm like, well, then I can't make impulse purchases like these, ratio variants or the Wakanda omnibus I found at Ollie's last week. Like, I like to have room in the budget to enjoy comics and not be like strapped for cash and just have a massive pile of books near me. But anyway, $62. There are a few books on the radar this week. First of them is Green Arrow, issue 18. This is the official start to the Chris Condon era. Did I say Chris Condon right? Condon. I guess that's the only other way to say it. But anyway, brand new start for Ollie and Green Arrow fans. I didn't get to read a preview of this, so I don't know how good it is. $3.99 on that, though. Next up, Black Canary, Best of the Best, issue number 1. Oh, new start for Green Arrow, new start for Black Canary. But Black Canary is a Black Label miniseries written by Tom King with art by Ryan Sook. Tom King does these miniseries. They're typically with a character that I know nothing about except like their costume design. And, I try to read it 3 issues in, I get lost, like what's happening. And then I fall off the series wraps, and everybody's like, oh, that was the best thing ever. You should have stuck with it. And then I read it and I'm like, oh, you're right. That was really good. That's typically the pattern I take with Tom King Black Label miniseries. I probably should just skip all the way to the end where there's the collected edition and I'll read it all at one time. But cover price on this one is $4.99, and that's that. By the way, I know a little bit more about Black Canary than I know about any of the other Tom King miniseries people. Adam Strange, The Vision, Kyle Rayner, Rorschach. At least Black Canary, like I know colloquially. Anyway, next up, West Coast Avengers, number 1 from Marvel, written by Jerry Duggan, with art by Danny Kim. Honestly, I'm intrigued because Ultron is on the team. And I'm like, Ultron? With Iron Man and War Machine? That's interesting. $4.99 on that. And the last book on the radar this week is Batman, Santa Claus, Silent Night Returns. Silent Night Returns, number 1. So funny enough, last year I thought that Batman, Santa Claus, Silent Night book was like a one-shot for Christmas. Joke's on me, it was a whole miniseries. And this time around, it's a whole miniseries again. So, fool me can't get fooled again. That's what we say in Texas. I'm sure they say it everywhere. But anyway, $3.99 is the cover price on that one. And that's it. Those are the books that are on the radar this week. A lot of new number 1s, a lot of books you can grab. It's that time for Christmas shopping. So come to the live claim sale that I'm doing with Dynamite this Friday. I'll see you in another video soon. Till then, stay safe, stay awesome, and read something dope today. Peace.